Hey everybody, I'm Ryan Dorn from 360 Ad Sales Training, and this is your Ad Sales Training Minute. Today we're going to talk about patterns of attack. And what I mean by that is every time that I approach prospecting, going after new customers, I want to look at it as if I'm going to war. Now I know that's a little probably dramatic, if you will, but those of you that know me know that I tend to fall on the side of a little bit of drama to make sure that I get my point across. So if you think back to the Revolutionary War, where one team would line up against a team, where one country would line up against another country and just sort of shoot across at each other, it wasn't very efficient. What I'd really like you to think about is kind of be like a first recon Marine, somebody that really gets into the details, somebody that really is willing to, just lay in the weeds and think about exactly what they're going to do to make sure that they complete their mission with the least amount of fatalities and the greatest accuracy of success. So how do you do that? First is I want to actually write down my plan of attack, because very often when I'm trying to deal with 10 prospects at a time, try to prospect 50 across a week, which I refer to as my big 50. You can call if you want to talk to me about that. I actually want to write them down so I can visually see them. Many time management experts will tell us that if you actually write things down as you cross them off, you get a really nice feeling of success. Also, it helps you be more organized. So write down first those 10 prospects. Then what I want to do is I want to create an attack pattern. Okay? So I want to make sure that I go with a voicemail and a phone call on day number 1, and then I keep that pattern up every other day for approximately 2 weeks or longer, depending upon your particular situation or your particular circumstance. Now, as I mentioned in one of my other videos here in our Ad Sales Training Minute, is I want to use LinkedIn. Okay, so I want to gather some reconnaissance. Okay, remember the recon. I want to gather some reconnaissance. So as I'm leaving those voicemails, as I'm sending those emails, I can include little tidbits of information I've gathered from LinkedIn or perhaps from Facebook or Google to be able to enhance, okay, to further enhance those voicemails or emails. See, one of the things I find when I travel the country and work with ad sales teams is that very often we're very random in our patterns. We're very random in our prospecting patterns. We're very random in our approach when it comes to prospecting. I want to put together an attack plan. Now, as a group, what you might consider doing is actually sitting down and maybe writing this out on a whiteboard or maybe creating it in an Excel file. But I don't just want to say, oh, I need to call 5 people today. Or I'm driving down the street going to an appointment, and I happen to see a new business that opens. I want to potentially drop into that business, but I want to add them to my attack plan. So write it out. I encourage you to have 4 or 5 steps to your attack plan. You might have a voicemail that you're going to leave or a phone call. You're going to call, say, every other day for a couple of weeks. You're going to follow that up with an email every other day for a couple of weeks. Maybe you're going to send a handwritten note as a part of your attack plan. Maybe you're going to show up and do a cold call, which I can't always recommend, but very often does work. You need some type of pattern, some type of plan. This is the important part. Why do you need to write it down? Because when it works for you, you want to rinse and repeat. When it's not working, you want to break the pattern and come up with something different till you get to a point where it works. Remember this, if ad sales was easy, everybody'd be doing it. So you're a unique person. So embrace your unique situation today and go out there and sell something, will you? Remember, having an attack plan, any plan, is better than no plan at all. I'm Ryan Dorn, creator of the 360 Ad Sales System. Thanks for stopping by here on Facebook and visiting our videos. We'll see you online right here at 360adsales.com.